Hello, everyone! Yeah, I figured I would just, I mean, it's a Sega CD stream, and Sega CD has some good BIOS music, so why the fuck not? Why not just, like, play that in the background as my intro song? I mean, it's Popful appropriate, I guess. We need the Logan Station and the Logan Cube, hell yeah. Or the what is it, the Okama Game Sphere, which I thought was just a South Park thing. Come to find out, it was also in Drake and Josh, which was a show that was definitely on when I was a kid, but I didn't watch. But that's where the "it's spherical" thing comes from. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of companies that have made cube-like objects, well, I guess I'll get into that in a moment. For now, though, let's play some Popful Mail. Yeah, I just had the Sega CD thing going on, and oh my god, look at the... Oh my god. Fuck, remember when consoles had personality? I mean, you know what? I was gonna say I don't, but even like, I don't know. The consoles really, I think I was like, I would say like the fucking, like whenever Sega pulled out of the console market is when all consoles kind of lost personality. Like Nintendo was always kind of there doing their own thing, but I don't know, like I don't know, like the PlayStation and the Xbox have always kind of just been like mostly the same. It's just like, well, I guess there's a bit of personality. One's for like online players and one's kind of for like more single player oriented games, except that's sort of what Nintendo's for. So really, like, I don't know, consoles are just kind of a meaningless waste of time. Anyway, my soapbox is over. Let's play some Popful Mail. What? Oh, okay. We can just do that. Sega! Oh, shit. I forgot. Elle sent me that, that redeem. I should have enabled that. Oh, well. Yeah, I'll wait a little bit longer for people to join, and then I'll get into the big news that was thrust upon us this morning. You could say Nintendo is switching some things up. Borgars for life. I need to set it so that Borgars or anything like Borgar adjacent sets off that redeem. Half-Life 3 could be a thing this year. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. With that, there you go. Do you think, like, if Half-Life 3 comes out this year, when was that originally announced? Like, 2006? Would that have, so that would be, what, 18 years, I think? Would that have been in development hell longer than Duke Nukem Forever? Would that break, Duke Nukem's record? Who knows? Maybe Half-Life 3 will launch with the new Switch. I have a couple of kind of thoughts about that. I would say, I guess I'll start now. I think my biggest thing is the new Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom, is that out yet? Because I'm wondering now if they're going to just delay that so that it comes out on the new Switch. Because I could actually see that benefiting them either which... I could see that being a benefit to them either which way they go. If they do release it for the Switch 1... that would kind of be like, oh, well, we're going to keep the Switch relevant for, like, a little bit longer until the Switch 2 comes out, which is probably going to be sometime in, like, June or so. Or they could just move it over to the Switch 2 and just be like, okay, well, here's your incentive to buy the console. I don't really know. Especially if the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible, that might be... it might just be smart to release it, to, like, just release it as a Switch game. Especially if it can run pretty well. The Trump state of attraction. Yeah, in his inauguration speech, he will be like, and we will bring Half-Life 3! And Mexico will pay for it! Mexico will pay for Half-Life 3! They'll love it! Metroid Prime could be a Switch 2 launch. That would make sense to me, because I was watching Vinesauce's coverage on that, and he kind of, like, said a similar thing, because, like, they pushed back the release of that. I think it was supposed to release, like, sometime, I think, like, sometime around now, but they pushed it forward so that it could be released on the Switch. I'm not sure if they're going to do that with Zelda, though. That could be... that would be kind of insane, though. Like, that might actually be, like, a pretty cool launch. If it launched with Mario Kart and Zelda and Metroid. Like, that would be a hell of a launch. That's, like, the 3 major hitters all there at launch. That would, like, honestly... go down in history as one of the most impressive launch lineups, and that's just first-party shit. We aren't even talking about, like, third-party. You know, we could have, like, some people... Hey? Oh, there we go. We could... I mean, I've heard, like, some speculation of maybe Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at launch, which, I mean, yeah, that's kind of an old game at this point, but would be kind of cool to play that on Switch, I guess. That alone would not make a Switch launch, but Mario Kart 9, Echoes of Wisdom... is that what it's called? Echoes of Wisdom? And then Metroid Prime 4. Those 3 games, I think, would be an excellent launch on their own. Like, you don't even need third-party. Third-party is definitely going to be... I mean, third-party is definitely going to come. I mean, assuming, like, Nintendo doesn't completely shit the bed, which they still could. I will say that calling it the Switch 2, I've had some iffy thoughts about that. On one hand, it kind of invokes, like, the Wii U... of, like, oh, well, what are you going to call the follow-up to the Wii? The Wii U. Like, but then again, though, like, Nintendo has actually done that successfully. I think people just focus on the Wii U because that was the most infamous thing that flopped. But also, like, you do have, like, the, like, the follow-up to the Nintendo Entertainment System, what was that called? The Super Nintendo Entertainment System, What was the follow-up to the Nintendo DS? The Nintendo 3DS. Which I still argue the 3DS was not necessarily a success either. It was just a success as compared to the massive failure that was the Wii U. I think if the Wii U had even a modicum of success, we would be calling the 3DS a failure. Because the 3DS didn't really have a lot of... It was... I mean, it was pretty much just a Pokemon machine. Which, like, you know, some people might say, like, oh, same thing with, like, you know, the Game Boy Advance and the DS. No, they had, like, their own, like, personalities. It was a little bit more than just a Pokemon machine. Hello, Nicholas. Hello, Renee. Or, yeah, Nicholas. Just Nicholas. Oh, it was supposed to be episode 3, not Half-Life 3? Yeah. It'll probably be Mario Kart and Metroid Prime 4 as launch titles. Zelda for 2027. Really? It was supposed to come out, like, next month, I think, right? Other thing I will say, too, is... they didn't really change the design all that much, which, fair enough. I think the essential design of the Switch was pretty solid. I just hope that they don't get too comfortable. You did have a lot of problems with the, like the Joy-Cons. Hopefully they've kind of ironed that out a bit. There's this mouse thing, which I'm not 100% sure if it's actually been confirmed. It wasn't confirmed in the video. But it does seem like some things have come out since that video, because I guess they have published the technical specs of the Switch 2, because Elle was sharing that a bit earlier in the Discord. New Rayman platformer? Maybe.
Squirted me.
Call it the Nintendo Neptune. That would be cool. I was saying earlier, maybe I do need to check out like some of the newer Rayman games, because I never liked like the first Rayman on PlayStation. I thought it was like the epitome of jank, and I've always said I think the only reason anybody even remotely cares about it is because of, like, it was pretty much the only worthwhile platformer at launch on the PlayStation. I think it was the only platformer at launch. So it was like Rayman or wait for something good to come out, and some people just chose the former. And that's kind of how Rayman became a classic. I mean, it was originally a Jaguar game. That's all you need to know about Rayman. But yeah, I don't know. I think, like, if you can get Mario Kart, Zelda, and Metroid at launch, that would be a hell of a launch lineup. But on the other hand, if you release Echoes of Wisdom on the Switch 1, like it was, if not originally planned, then, like, who knows? If you can release Echoes of Wisdom on the Switch 1, that would give the Switch a last gasp of relevancy. Like, then, like, Nintendo would command a bit more of the news cycle that way, I think. So I think that there's a bit of strategy in either way. I don't know which one Nintendo's gonna go with. No, talk to the thing. There we go. Oh, you know what, actually? Am I backtracking? I might be. Switch 2 is gonna flop? I don't know. That's the thing, is we don't know nearly enough about it. We know that it has, like, lower than average technical specs, but here's the thing. I think now, more than ever, technical specs do not matter. And here's... And I think, like, here's the thing. People have been saying that since the Wii came out. Because the Wii was also a really underpowered system as compared to the competition. So was the Wii U, so was the Switch. That's kind of been Nintendo's MO pretty much since the GameCube. I think that the GameCube was the last bit of, like, impressive hardware that Nintendo had. And even that had, like, some issues. Definitely, the GameCube failed in having, like, the tiny, like, diskettes. Actually, I don't want to say diskettes, because when I think diskette, I think, like, the floppy disk. Whatever, the mini DVDs, maybe, is what it's called. I don't know if the Switch 2 is gonna flop, though, because, like... Here's the thing. I've said this so many times. The AAA game industry, if not dead, is on its very last leg. And that leg is also very feeble. Like, you know, like, even, like, my roommate is playing Elden Ring. He's, like, picking Elden Ring back up again. And Elden Ring is, like, the most recent example I can even think of a AAA game really wowing anybody. Like, having any sort of a cultural significance. And how old is Elden Ring now? I want to say, like, 3-4 years old? So it's been 4 years since the AAA game industry has had any sort of relevance, with, like, Elden Ring and then maybe Cyberpunk right before that. And the latter, Cyberpunk, is more infamous for how broken it launched than any actual gameplay. Yes, the game, I understand, has... the game, I understand, is a lot better now. It's a lot more playable. that's not its legacy. You never want to hear Rayman slander again? Rayman sucks! But, tell me what I'm supposed to like about Rayman. It's floaty controls, it's bullshit hard, and really it's not all that interesting. It doesn't even have that much personality beyond it's a platformer and it had to come out at the right place at the right time, while immediately afterwards coming out at the wrong place at the wrong time. Rayman Origin, yeah, that's what I was saying, is like, I need to play some of the later Rayman games. I've only ever played the first one, and I think, like, no, I've never even played the 3D ones. Like, there's a... I don't know, I need to play the new ones, maybe. I just assumed... I've looked at them before, and they kind of just also sort of looked like template cookie-cutter platformers. Maybe I need to give it another chance. Maybe there's like a bit more of a personality to it. What makes you say the AAA game industry is on its last legs? Video game sales are better than ever, and games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth still widely outsold the most hyped indie titles. The video game industry is still a thing because of indie titles. Here's the thing, indie titles are not super hyped because they, generally speaking, don't have the AAA game industry budget. That said, with the internet, games like UFO 50, games like, what's that one that, like, all the people are playing now? It's like some poker game. You know, like, games like that are just getting around via word of mouth, by streamers playing it and people learning about it through different streamers. That's the thing, too, is you don't necessarily need a massive marketing campaign to hype your game up anymore, because now we have the internet, now we have Twitch streamers and YouTube streamers, and people like that who will do all of the advertising for you, all of the advertising necessary for you. So that's what I'm saying. People are sick and tired of the AAA industry being completely fucking tone deaf to everything going around. And, you know, like, not to mention, like, all of the hardcore crunch and things that are honestly probably still, to a degree, a thing in the indie community. I mean, like, indie games, keep in mind, generally speaking, still are not completely done by one person. There are still teams, they're just smaller teams. So it's still entirely possible crunch and bad work environments and shit like that are still a factor. But the AAA industry is the one getting all the blame. And that's not good press. And on top of... And that would not necessarily be too big of an issue if they were releasing... If the result was good games. Crunch has always been a part of the video game industry. Sometimes it results in really rushed and bad games. Sometimes it would result in really good games. Some of the best games have been a result of crunch. Some of the worst games have been a result of crunch. It didn't used to dictate the quality of the game like it does now. That's what I'm saying, though, is I think, and people are realizing more and more, I think, that graphics do not make the game. The seeds were sort of planted during the Nintendo Wii era, when Nintendo could basically just release a game that ran on a toaster, add some motion controls to it, and it sells 10 million copies. Wii Sports, fucking New Super Mario Wii, Super Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart Wii, fucking No More Heroes, you know, massive system sellers that ran on a fucking potato. Nintendo has not necessarily always had success with that business model. Obviously, the Wii U, but I would say I think the Wii U could have worked. A lot of people want to blame the marketing for the Wii U, and that definitely didn't help. But also, I think the game quality was just not up to par with what Nintendo was doing on the Wii during the Wii U era. And I think that transfers over to the 3DS. You look at something like Super Mario 3D Land as compared to like Mario Galaxy, or even Mario Odyssey, which would come out later. It's weaker than both of those. It's a weak game that happened to be sandwiched between two really strong games that Nintendo fans kind of liked. And I think more than ever, graphics are just not... Like for example, I have a Steam Deck, which... I don't know to what degree this is actually true. Elle's kind of saying like the Switch 2 would have about these technical specs. So, definitely not good for future-proofing, but I have never taxed the Steam Deck. Or if I have, like, barely. I'd say, like, the closest I've come to taxing the Steam Deck is, like, playing 3DS games on an emulator. And I think that's more down to a poorly optimized emulator, more so than the Steam Deck just can't handle 3DS games. But, like, even emulation aside, it plays Final Fantasy... You saw, when I first got the Steam Deck, I streamed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Ran 60 frames per second, no issues. I've never had any issues with the Steam Deck. Now, granted, will I be saying that 4 or 5 years from now? Probably not. 4 or 5 years from now, this is probably going to be super obsolete. And that's about how long Nintendo has to keep the Switch 2 relevant. I think that Nintendo has the ability... Nintendo, I think, is the only company that even has the ability to keep consoles even a relevant thing because of their first-party exclusives. Microsoft and Sony have not had first-party exclusives that are worth a damn for a really long time. And that's despite Microsoft buying, like, every video game company under the sun. Bethesda, Activision, you know, did they buy Project Red? I can't remember. But they own, like, a shit ton of really powerful, and that's kind of what their MO has been since the beginning. Buying AAA game industries and putting them under their umbrella. The problem is, once they buy them, they have no idea what the hell to do with them, and you know, you have a really impressive portfolio, but if you don't know what to do with that portfolio, it's not going to be of much value. I think that that's not me saying that the Switch 2 is going to succeed. Again, we literally only have like a 2-minute video and some technical specs to go off of. I'm saying that it's not as clear-cut that it will be a failure. I think that if Nintendo can bring the games, which maybe they will, maybe they won't, we still have yet to see. If they can bring the games, and they can market the system efficiently so that it indeed has a market, and the first-party exclusives are good. If Nintendo can basically do what they did with the original Switch, which was, even at its time, not a very powerful piece of hardware. If they can do that, I think it has a chance. And it would basically take Nintendo doing exactly what they did with the Switch 1, which makes me think that they could do it. again, though, you know, you can't. I think Nintendo of any company should understand you can't skirt by just off of goodwill, because that goodwill is going to run out. Again, the Wii U. Or even the latter half of the Wii. I think the warning sign should have been there for the Wii U in the second half of the Wii generation when the 360 and eventually the PS3 ultimately caught up to it. So, that's me saying I don't know if it will be successful. We don't have enough to go off of yet. But I think that if Nintendo is as good at marketing with the Switch 2 as they were with the Switch, I think it could look optimistic. That said, though, the other thing, too, is I think that undoubtedly Nintendo is going to win the next console generation. However, will there be a next console generation? Will there be a PlayStation 6? Will there be an Xbox, whatever the fuck they decide to call it next time? I don't think so. I think Microsoft especially has already sown the seeds for putting their games on PC. Maybe on the Windows Store, maybe on the Steam Store, or the Epic Games Store, whatever has you. And I think that Sony is even kind of talking about doing a similar thing. I think that within the next year or so, we're going to see God of War on the, whether it be Steam Store, whether it be whatever. Anyway, I missed a lot of comments, I'm sorry. In the future, everybody's going to play. Well, no. How do you know for sure people are tired of the AAA industry? Because it's not selling. Because it's not selling, and because the AAA industry has not been able to successfully hype up a project in about 4 years. That's why. That's why, and I think that honestly, what's the newest game you can really think of that had any major buzz? Final Fantasy VII, okay, but it's an RPG. RPGs have always had a very niche sort of appeal. Final Fantasy VII originally was a big game for RPGs, and it has a lasting legacy as a result of that. I wouldn't say Final Fantasy VII ever had a mass appeal to it. I guess, then again though, I will give you Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think is probably the more recent example of a game having hype. But even then, that's what the first game came out was at 2021. Then last year, not last year, the year before. Nintendo is too overrated, to be honest. Fair enough, that's your opinion, but I think that Nintendo at least has the receipts to prove that they know how to win a console generation, even if they are the only ones in that console generation. It will succeed regardless because they have so many fanboys who buy their stuff. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is... Well, that's the thing though, is Sony and Microsoft could also have those fanboys, and they did. Not even, like, Xbox fanboys used to be a massive thing in the 360 era. 360 fanboys, PlayStation fanboys, and Nintendo fanboys. All three of them were equally big on the internet and in the gaming sphere. Then the Xbox One came out. It was a flop because, well, Microsoft didn't know how to market it properly. And then the PS5 and Xbox Series generation, both of those consoles were a flop because there's really no place in the game industry for them to even exist. It's either, like, that's the thing too, is like, Nintendo, I think, could make just as much money, if not even more money, by just releasing their games on PC. Nintendo's not going to do that, though, because they're quirky like that. I think they could actually make more money by releasing Mario and Zelda on PC. But then that kind of that makes their brand a little bit less unique. And I think they still kind of cling to the old-fashioned business model of sell the console, sell it at a loss, because that's what all three console manufacturers have done for basically since the game industry. Sell the game console at a loss so that you can sell people on a software platform. You're not buying a console, you're buying an ecosystem. If you buy a PlayStation 5, for every Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series, and PlayStation 5 sold, the big three are taking a loss on that. But it's a gamble, and if the gamble pays off, you're invested in their ecosystem. The ecosystem of God of War and Bloodborne on the PlayStation, the ecosystem of Halo and Forza and what is it called? Starfleet or Starview, whatever the one Bethesda game was that was like No Man's Sky but in space. Or the ecosystem of Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and Kirby. I think that the other two are going to realize that ecosystems are not as important as just selling your product. And I think that they're going to realize maybe we don't need to sell $500 piece of hardware that actually costs like $700 to manufacture. Take a loss on that. And whatever. Or maybe they aren't even like taking a loss on it as much as breaking even. Either way, they aren't making much of a profit on the hardware. And that's how it's been since the history of gaming. In fact, the one console to really break that trend in gaming history was the 3DO, because it was a name that was it was a technology that was licensed out to a bunch of companies, and as a result, they couldn't afford to take a loss on the hardware. As a result, said hardware was about $700 in 1994 money, hence why the 3DO failed. So, that is the exception to that rule, and as a result, that console failed. Because it was too expensive, because they couldn't afford to take a loss. Because it was a technology that was licensed out, and really no one person had any sort. There was no licensing deal, so you couldn't really afford to like make a profit on game licensing like Nintendo and Sega were doing at the time. I'm sorry, I'm missing a lot of comments. Halo was always on PC. Yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, yeah. I'm sorry, I was, like, missing a shit ton of comments. Halo, yeah, Halo was always on PC. Actually, I think it originally started as a Mac exclusive, believe it or not. Switch 2 will flop because it doesn't have half the teraflops of current generation consoles. Well, neither did the original Switch. Like, Nintendo has like I said, ever since the Wii, run on inferior hardware, but undercutting the others on price. Whereas even the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One at the time were about, what, I want to say $500 each. Maybe about $400 at that point. The Switch was at $300. Same thing here with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, still both at around $600 a piece. If Nintendo can sell their console for $400, it makes sense from a budget-minded perspective to pick the Switch. Obviously, you know, obviously there's people who can't afford either one of those, which, I mean, you know, you can only sell something so low. But from like, Nintendo has always been able to A, undercut the competition on price, and 2, excel in their exclusives. And again, the main reason why it didn't work in the Wii U generation is because the exclusives just weren't as good. Mario Kart 8 was a pretty good Mario Kart game. It was one of the biggest games on the Wii U until they re-released it on the Switch, thereby making the Wii U irrelevant. But I think if Nintendo had not been re-releasing Wii U games on Switch, people would be looking at the Wii U the same way they look at the Dreamcast. As a result, this system is entirely irrelevant because any good games that it did have are now on Switch. And have better ports with, you know, like with Mario Kart 8 and Super Mario 3D World and things like that, having Switch versions which run a lot faster and at a better frame rate. Or realize that a Steam Deck is more versatile and future-proof than some other handheld PC. I think that will be true of I'm almost positive that will be true of the other two. With the Switch, it depends how quickly emulators can catch up with the Switch. I think that this will probably also be Nintendo's last console. I don't think there's any way that Nintendo can continue to compete while the Steam Deck and while PCs in general. I think that Nintendo can hold off on one console generation, and they can do that because of their exclusives and because they are quirky in Nintendo. I think Nintendo could also come up with like some weird off-the-wall ideas like Labo to kind of keep them relevant, which I don't think Sony and Microsoft, I think they are too conservative to take crazy risks like that. Everybody also always talks about the power of NASA computers. But what about... Oh, okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm not even necessarily making... I'm not even necessarily saying that L is wrong and the Switch won't flop, but I'm saying there is a market if Nintendo is able to successfully secure it. Hardware, limitations do not necessarily matter. If you can undercut the competition on price, and you can excel in exclusives. The Wii U was able to do half of that. The other half they skimped on. So that's what Nintendo needs to do. They need to do 3 things, one of which the Nintendo Wii U did, and 2 of which the Wii U failed in. They need to, 1, undercut on price, which they did on the Wii U. Wii U was, I think, about $300 to $400, while the competition was. Actually, I think the PS4 might have launched at around $400, but that might also be a part of the reason why the Wii U failed. So, undercut on price, excel in exclusives, which the Wii U didn't, and market it correctly, again, which was lacking with the Wii U. Okay, I think it's this one. This way, actually. Or is it? Shit, I actually don't remember. Let's say on the map where. Yeah, remember there was a game I was supposed to play? I wasn't just ranting about a 2-minute advertisement that didn't show a shit. I'm also, by the way, prepare yourselves, because I'm probably also going to rant about that on Orc's show tomorrow. He invited me back on, and I was like, I was kind of. I wasn't sure what my Friday was going to look like, but I ultimately decided, okay, I'll do it. I think it is this way, maybe? We'll see. Or build your own entry-level PC, gaming PC for the same price. I mean, I don't know how to fucking do that. I don't know how to solder shit. I don't think most people know how to do that either. Like, that's the thing, is like, unless you know somebody who you can pay to do that for you, you know, that's building a PC is still very much a hobbyist thing. Unless you know how to, like, get busy with a soldering iron, it's a pain in the ass, which most people aren't going to do. So your options are really the Steam Deck or the Switch 2. Which one will win? I don't know. The Steam Deck is, yes, definitely a lot more versatile and very user-friendly. Although I think its reputation as a PC-like console makes people think that it's not as user-friendly as it is. I even kind of experienced that sort of mentality on Orc's stream when I was on last week. But I think Steam might have some work to do to kind of dissuade that. Like, yes, it is user-friendly if all you want to do is play games. If not, if you want to do more than just play games, if you want to download emulators and shit on it, then it's actually really... What? Go to ChatGPT and ask it for the best entry-level specs. Pick the specs and pay someone else to do it. Yeah, but, like, I mean, I don't know about you. I don't really have any, but like anybody like that who I would trust to actually do it. Like, I wouldn't even know who to pay, because, like, anybody I would pay to build a PC for me, I wouldn't trust well enough for them to not rip me off. That's why I would just, like, buy, like, a pre-built thing from, you know, Dell or Asus or HP or whoever. Actually, wait. You know what? I think that... Never mind. I think that... Yeah, this way is the right way, because I had, like, that chest, too, that I needed to open. Thing was found. Okay. I think this is the right way, actually. Ask the place where you bought the plot for recommendations. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I still think that's a bit too much of a daunting task for the average user. It is definitely an option, and I'm not I'm not saying that's not like a particularly popular option for people who know what they're doing. But that's the thing, is like most people don't even know what emulation is or how it works. Like, you have technical know-how, and people like us are a bit more in the know about gaming than the average consumer. But... you know, you gotta, like, look at it from, like, the average consumer. They don't know how PCs and shit work. Or especially, like, how to build PCs and shit like that. Information is free and super easy to access nowadays. True. And on AI, ask on AI now. True. I don't know. I think I've always said, like, I think AI has the ability to be... I don't know. I think that pre-built PCs are always going to be a thing. For people who don't really know what they're doing. And also, like, keep in mind, just because I'm saying the Switch 2 may or may not succeed, it's not really an endorsement on whether you should buy one. Honestly, I always say, I still go by the same advice I always did, which is never buy a console at launch. Wait for it to either A, go down in price, or B, for them to work out some of the technical issues of it. We saw that more so than anything with the original Switch and the Joy-Con drift. The Switch Lite, the Switch Lite even, like, I don't want to say that entirely fixed the Joy-Con drift issues, but I definitely hear about it less on the Switch Lite than on the regular Switch. Whether that's down to, like, the Switch... Whether that's down to, like, the form factor that they used on the Switch Lite kind of being a bit more durable than on the regular Switch, or what have you, or maybe less people owning a Switch Lite. I don't know if that's necessarily the case or not, but it definitely seems like the Switch Lite, from a technical standpoint, seems to have improved the Joy-Con drift issues.
I want my teddy bear.
Stick drift is kinda inevitable. The issue isn't that they had it out of the box. I don't know if there's really any reports of stick drift right out of the box. It is definitely a big issue. It's something that I have experienced. It's something that many people in the gaming community have experienced. It's something that people I know who have owned Joy-Cons have experienced. It's definitely an issue. And mid-tier is right in that any thumbstick could experience some degree of drifting. I mean, even the N64 initially had that problem. But also, like, you could have that problem with a PS4 controller. The thing is the PS4 is not a portable console. The Switch is. So it's more likely to be a bit abused. I would even go as far as to say I think the PS Vita would probably have more reports of a thumbstick drift issue if people had bought the PS Vita. I think if the PS Vita had actually been successful, we would be hearing more reports of drift issues. Because the PS Vita had kind of the same sort of thumbstick as a Joy-Con. The same sort of, like, really small, in fact, smaller than the Joy-Con, if I remember right. The same kind of small thumbstick that's also extremely loose. PSV didn't have any such issues ever. That we know of. Again, though, that's the thing, is the PlayStation Vita was such a monumental flop that we don't even know if people had issues with it because nobody bought the damn thing. And had more than enough users. Did it? I don't know. I think at that point, dedicated handheld console... I would also say, like, at that time, dedicated handheld and now even, dedicated handheld consoles didn't really have a shot at succeeding because of how big mobile gaming on phones was getting. That's why Nintendo did the whole Switch thing, hybrid between, like, a home console and a handheld in the first place. Is because otherwise they would not have, because they had the 3DS and the Wii U, neither of which really had a market by 2017. The Wii U initially was trying to ape the casual market, which had phones, and so was the 3DS, which had phones that were more powerful than the thing to begin with. I've said before, the 3DS I don't think was necessarily a success either. I think that if the Wii U had not been such a monumental flop, we would be looking at the 3DS line also as a flop. The thing is, by the standards that Nintendo had at the time, the 3DS looked good in comparison to how monumentally bad the Wii U was doing. People still buy secondhand Vitas to this day. And they are fine. I guess that's true, yeah. In that case, I don't entirely know, because, like, I mean, granted, I don't think I've never owned a PlayStation Vita, but I remember their thumbsticks being pretty bad as well. Kind of, like, suffering from the same issue. I think maybe what it could be down to, the issue with the Joy-Con is that it was... I think it came down sort of to it being like a standalone controller as opposed to like necessarily being hardwired to a console. And that might also be why the Switch Lite didn't have as many Joy-Con drift issues. I think that it was a quality control issue. Definitely, yeah, for that. Yeah, but both Wii U and the PS Vita are now considered underrated. I don't think the Wii U is considered underrated. PS Vita definitely has a cult following for sure. The Wii U, I don't think will ever have that cult following, mainly because, as I said, any good games that the Wii U had were brought over to the Switch and made massively better as a result. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, New Super Mario 3D World, Tropical Freeze, the Xenoblade games. The first Xenoblade was on Wii, but I think like Xenoblade 2 was on Wii U. Bayonetta, I think initially was a Wii U exclusive, and then they just ported that to everything. That's what I'm saying, is like any games that the Wii U might have had. I would agree with you, mid-tier, if Nintendo did not port all of Wii U's good games to the Switch. If Nintendo had not done that, I think we would be talking about the Wii U in the same breath as we talk about the Dreamcast. Underrated consoles with underrated games that were not marketed properly. I don't necessarily know if that's the case with a lot of Nintendo's first party output, but I think like we would definitely be talking about it as like a system of like Bayonetta and the Xenoblade Chronicles 2. If nothing else, and Mario Kart 8. But all three of those are on Switch, and two of those three are on everything. So there were more than enough PSV sites that sales that stick drift issues would have surfaced. I don't know, though. Like, there were even two versions of the Vita eventually, and the Japanese localized games and indie titles kept the system relevant. Maybe in, like, other countries, but, like, I'm telling you, in the US, the PlayStation Vita, the only games that anybody would ever talk about, if you ask somebody, even in the know, even somebody who's like into gaming journalism or into like the into the zeitgeist, if you asked them to name some Vita games, it's gonna be Uncharted. It's gonna be. Didn't it launch with a Ridge Racer game? I think it did. Or no, I'm thinking of the 3DS. Yeah, so like Uncharted and yeah, no, that's it. Uncharted, and I think it might have had like an Asphalt game, but I mean, Asphalt was always just kind of a shitty mobile game, so I don't think anybody cares about Asphalt. Oh yeah, true. Persona 4. That was That's true. Yeah, Persona 4 was on the Persona 4 Golden was on the Wii. That's true. So I think well, and I guess for what it's worth, Persona 4 Golden I think might not have necessarily been a launch game. I don't know when Golden first launched on the Vita, but I don't think it was a launch game. The only I only remember anybody talking about the PS Vita during the launch window, and then immediately it was dropped. And I think it was actually dropped, and I think really the final nail in the coffin was Nintendo's sort of surprise price drop of the 3DS. I think it launched at $249, and then they brought it down to, I want to say $199 or maybe $169. No, I think it was $199. And alongside that, they had alongside that price drop, they launched Ocarina of Time, and they like gave away a shit ton of virtual console games as well. So Nintendo, like, I think the PS Vita was already kind of on its last leg, and then Nintendo just completely killed it with the 3DS. Again, not saying the 3DS was a success. I don't think that it was, but it was. They at least were able to kind of stifle out any whisperings of any chance of the PS Vita being a success. That final nail in the coffin was a phrase that pervaded the PS Vita all across its longer than expected lifespan. That's true. That is true. I my understanding is the Japanese market basically kept it in some way solvent. I don't even entirely understand how, because again, like, at that time there wasn't really much of a market for any handheld console, whether it was Nintendo or the Vita. Because, like, keep in mind, the 3DS was not relevant that much longer than the Vita, and any relevancy that it had was just because it wasn't the Wii U. Nintendo fans had to look for some ray of hope, and they got it with the 3DS, kind of. But again, as I've said multiple times this stream, if the Wii U had come out and it was actually properly marketed and it had some decent first party support, or some decent first party and especially some decent third party support, we would not even be talking about the 3DS. The 3DS was a success in comparison to the Wii U. The PS Vita was a success in really no way whatsoever. It was a success in hindsight, I guess you could say. It was a success in the idea of people kind of taking a second look and being like, oh, maybe there are some decent games that we overlooked. But it definitely didn't sell worth a shit when it came out. The PSP even kind of had, I think the PSP had some success. I definitely know people who had a PSP. I knew one person who bought a used PlayStation Vita and then immediately returned it because he realized, oh, wait a minute, there are no games for this thing. Granted, he was sort of like an Xbox guy, so he probably wouldn't have gotten into, like, you know, the RPGs and shit like that, but still. You thought everyone loved the PSP? I think, well, I guess I can't really call the PSP a failure. It was a failure in comparison to the DS, for sure. But it definitely... The problem with the PSP, and the problem with Sony's entire handheld strategy encompassing both the PSP and the PS Vita is that they were trying to market it as a portable PS2 when that's not really what people wanted. People wanted a unique experience, and that's why the DS thrived, and that's why the 3DS, in whatever degree that it did, also thrived. But, like, the 3DS was so bad, mind you, and Nintendo's state in the gaming sphere was so bad at some point that Nintendo started making iPhone games. Like, let's not forget that. Let's not forget Mario Run and Mario Kart World Tour. They did that because the Wii U was a failure, and the 3DS, by any other metric other than the Wii U, would have also been considered a failure. Hey, Aris. To justify 3 revisions? Vita? I thought it only had, like, 1 revision. Was there, like, 2 others? Oh, the PSP, yeah. True, the PSP... The PSP, I think, had... The PSP had a market, at least. I think maybe the same... I think maybe, like, the opposite could be said of the PS3. I think the PSP... I think the PSP would have been seen as a success if the DS was not a monster success. Because I think that what Ella's told me is that it, like, things kind of played out differently in, like, Asia than it did anywhere else. Because, like, here the DS was a massive success. I think even today the DS is one of, I think it might be, like, still in the top 5 best-selling consoles of all time. Might still be, like, the best-selling dedicated handheld. Maybe even more so than the Game Boy. But I think that might have mostly been US and European sales, because my understanding is the DS did not do as well in Asian countries. It's not about Asia either. You were hanging out in the GameFAQs forums. It stayed relevant because of Japanese localizations. It also got several good ports. Are we talking about the PSP or the PS Vita or something? Oh yeah, I gotta go back up and get that one chest. I forget what it was, but it seems like something important. Or I can just die. That's another thing. Oh, the PS Vita, yeah.
Thou hast besquirted me.
Well, by the way, hello, Arus. You missed absolutely nothing because I spent the entirety of this stream just ranting about the Switch 2. And not even really talking about the Switch 2, just talking about how... More so, like, how I think the Switch 2 could shape out. I'm not necessarily saying it will shape out the way that I think... Well, I'm not even saying I know necessarily how it will shape out. Again, as I've said repeatedly, it comes down to how it's marketed. You know, it's like they say, you could... It reminds me of this one documentary about, like, you know, what killed the electric car. And this was, like, before... This was long before, like, Tesla and companies like that made the electric car actually something that people would want to buy. Is it slight? Yeah, I heard that the screen is slightly bigger. That is something I'm... Now, I don't know... I've never actually measured. Does the Steam Deck and the Switch have the same screen? I think that the Steam Deck is slightly bigger than the Switch, but it definitely has a much better screen. Even, like, comparing the non-OLED versions of either, the Steam Deck has a much better screen. The Switch screen is... The Switch screen, like, I was turning on the Switch recently, and that screen has not aged particularly well. I don't know if it was a particularly great screen at the time, but now looking at it, it is extremely washed out. But even like comparing like non-OLED versions of both the Steam Deck and the Switch does not have a great screen. But what I've basically been saying, for those who haven't been, for anybody who's just now joining, is that I think that the Switch 2 will succeed, but I think ultimately it might be a moot point, because the console industry is just on its last leg. The AAA industry is on its last leg specifically, but I think even indie games are mostly on the PC. Because I think the Steam Deck has just officially is kind of the final nail in the coffin for the console market. The Steam Deck, of course, being a handheld console, don't get me wrong, but I think that the Steam Deck is the perfect gateway to get people into PC gaming. It's definitely succeeded in that for me. Because, like, technically most of the games that it runs are PC games. There aren't that many games specifically written for the Steam Deck, even though the Windows ones do tend to have a higher than expected compatibility. There are still definitely issues on the compatibility front with the Steam Deck, and there probably always will be, but the compatibility is big enough and the usability of it is user-friendly enough that they can... Yeah. Premium games have AAA budgets now. I don't know. Freemium games barely even count as games to me.
Strange to see you down here. Can God help?
I've heard that you've captured a renegade wizard.
God cannot tell. Big secret. Bad man. He tried to wake the sleeping giant. Are you a friend of his?
He was my teacher. Well, before he went bad, that is.
Well, I still can't help you. He's too dangerous.
Yeah. Ketsu approved statement. What? Last of Us 2 came out. Hang on. Premium, like that's the thing is, like, that's the main reason I don't play most games on my phone, is because they're riddled either with ads or you're paying, like, a decent price for kind of lesser quality gameplay. I don't know. Mobile gaming, it has a market apparently, but I will never understand how. Mobile gaming has always just kind of been like a really shallow experience. Go. Oh shit! Hadouken! Hadouken! Oh, that is cool. Okay. Does Mail have a new thing? A boomerang! Hell yeah, let's go. Oh, do I not have the money? Wait. How much is it? Oh, it's 2,000 gold. That'll be why. Actually, I can quickly grind for that. Lots of story-based indie games on mobile, too? Okay. But you have to play them with a fucking touchscreen. That's... Honestly, just the thought of playing an actual game on a touchscreen just, like... It genuinely makes me cringe. I think that might just be, like, an old man thing. Like, that's just a... I think that might just be a matter of, like, me being out of touch, but I will never understand these young people who can play actual games with, like... virtual buttons. Tactile controls won't make your gameplay better. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. I don't know if it'll make it better, but it'll make me not want to off myself. In Minecraft, for any YouTube censors. Suicide is bad and good. You shouldn't commit suicide. Just suicide is bad and good. Sleep and slide is bad. You'll beat me on Tetris with a touchscreen. I mean, is, like, the touchscreen version of Tetris, like, actual Tetris now? Because it didn't used to be. It used to, like... Tetris on mobile used to have, like, this thing where it was, like... They, like, tried to optimize it for touchscreen by, like... You would tap of, like, one of 3 options where the Tetris... It was, like, fucking baby Tetris for the longest time. I don't know if, like, actual Tetris exists now. You'll beat me on... Yeah. I mean, you would beat me, but, like... Beat, like, somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're doing? I don't know. Could you beat mid-tier with a phone, is the question. Actually, to be fair, that might be too trick of a question. Mid-tier is probably too good on any hardware, but... Like, because he's, like, a pro. But, you know what I mean. Oh, use your phone as a controller? People do that?! People do that? People, like, use, like, touchscreen controllers as actual controllers? Are they fucking high?
Hadouken! Hadouken!
Okay, that is pretty cool. I will kill my enemies with the power of Hadouken. I still don't know where the fuck to go. I'll have to work that out eventually. Oh, well, I now have enough to... Shit.
Thou hast besquirted me.
So the controls don't matter. I mean, look, I'll say this. I did a mobile-only stream, and... admittedly, I was able to get on with virtual controls better than I expected. Granted, I come from, like, the early days of, like, iOS and mobile gaming, where, like, mobile controls just absolutely sucked. Now it seems like they're a little bit better. Still, I could never, like, play serious games that way. Like, I remember even, like, people playing, like, Pokemon, like, Game Boy emulators with, like, touch controls, and I'm just like, are you okay?
Oh, I want my teddy bear.
And I agreed that mobile games aren't inferior. It's definitely a different kind of experience. I guess, like, hardcore games exist on the phone. It's just, like, I will never understand how people play them. Again, though, I think that's just a matter of me being old and not being able to... Well, not old, but just not being able to understand how young people game on their phones. That's just... That's a skill issue. That's a me issue thing, I think. Like, I'm never going to get into phone gaming, I don't think. But young people can, and more power to them, I guess.
to see you down here. Can Gar help?
I heard that you had captured Muttonhead. Say, where'd you take him?
Gar cannot tell. Big secret. Bad man.
Do a
He
Netflix
tried to
mobile
wake the
stream?
sleeping
Honestly,
giant. Are you a friend of his?
Friend? Who, me? How stupid do I look? I'm just after the huge bounty on his head. Get it?
Well, I still can't help you. He's too dangerous.
Yeah. I love Ga. Sorry. Do a Netflix. Honestly, I would not mind doing that just so that I can get rid of some of the mobile games that are on my iPad. I still have some left over from the last time I did a mobile stream. I'm not going to do that this weekend. I have plans to do Warlocked on Game Boy Color, but I think in the very near future I will do another mobile stream and probably another Netflix stream. On YouTube was on a phone. You'll need to play Ninja Gaiden Black. That's not a mobile game, is it? Ninja Gaiden Black was like on the original Xbox, wasn't it? You need to play Drake and the 99 Dragons. I did play Drake and the 99 Dragons. And I actually have a short of that on YouTube. I love... Well, I mean, the game is ass, but it's funny. It's funny ass. It's on other consoles now, Ninja Gaiden? Alright. How much to heal fully? I forget. Either way, I'm gonna do it. Alright. I'm gonna go back and grind a bit, and then I will upgrade Mail's weapon, and then I will have to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do.
Oh my, how rude.
Oh my god, what is my chat doing? By the way, I totally forgot to implement that Sega Redeem. Elle sent that to me a while ago, and I still need to do that. ADHD is a hell of a drug. Is that an excuse? Probably not, but it's the one I'm going with.
Oh no!
Good one. Oh, okay. Now I can do this. No, I'm gonna... Thanks, Missy! Do I have enough to heal? Yes. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, because it can, like, hit and rebound. Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna go back to mail, actually, for a while. If this boomerang does what I think it does. Yeah, okay, cool. So I now have a second hit. Or, rather, I now have, like, a double attack. I think the other thing with mobile games too is like it's just not compatible with my ADHD. Like even like on the Steam Deck, I find it kind of hard to do like serious gaming on that. Like especially like RPGs that are like really text heavy. Granted, in that case, it's more down to like lack of voice acting. I think, yeah, that's where it was. Most people say mobile games are for people with ADHD. Yeah, the stupid ones, like Subway Surfers, but like not like Genshin Impact, which is like an actual game for actual people. Also, there's like some that like L has specifically requested, so I should do a mobile game stream at some point. He specifically requested Star Rails and something else. I'll have to look at the list. Honkai Star... Yeah, that. Nokia games are better, yes. An actual JRPG by MiHoYo? Zenless Zone Zero, that might have been it. Elder Scrolls... Shadow Key? I didn't know that was a thing. Cool. Infinity Blade? That's still a thing? Oh my god, Infinity Blade. I have not... Oh my god, Infinity Blade used to be like every iPhone keynote, they would bring out the newest version of Infinity Blade, and it was like, this is what the new iPhone is capable of. I did not know they were still making Infinity Blade games. Why? Like I remember, like, I even, like, downloaded one of the Infinity Blade games, and I was just like, okay, this looks cool. Even as a kid, I was like, this looks cool, but this is a really shallow gameplay experience. It was, like, a fighting game, but, like... I don't know. It is dead? Good. Cube Runner? I don't even know... Oh, is that a Nokia game, maybe? No, it wasn't. I remember... I don't know. Granted, I was like... When was Infinity Blade a thing? That was like... When did Infinity Blade 3 come out? I think that was like the last one. And that was like... That launched with like the iPhone 5S, I want to say. Or maybe just the 5. So that was like 2012, 2013. I would have been like, I don't know, 14 or 15 when that came out, like in high school. And like I remember it being like, it was a fighting game, but like, well, it used like the touchscreen controls, which even at that time I was like, this feels like shit. This does not feel like the system that, like, real games should be on. This is like the system that works well for games that are optimized for it, i.e., like Temple Run or Angry Birds or Subway Surfer or 2048 or something like that. Fruit Ninja, that too, yeah. Jetpack Joyride, Trivia Crack, There was one mobile game had like some actually pretty decent graphics for the time. I think it was called Smash Hit. That was a game like actually had pretty decent graphics and sound. Had like a really like impressive soundtrack that was cool. Like if you put headphones on, it had like a really wide stereo range. I remember that, and really, the gameplay was, like, dead simple. It was basically just, like, throw balls and, like, hit, like, the crystal shards. And it was, like, one of those, like, really simple... Like, gameplay-wise, it could have been done on the Atari 2600. I mean, like, not, like, with the graphics and sound, obviously. Those were a big step beyond that. But I'm saying, like, gameplay-wise, it was something like that. Like, typical, like, go for the high score. Flappy Bird! That was another one, too. Anybody see, like, fairly recently, some guy got a hold of the Flappy Bird's license and tried to, like, turn it into, like, an NFT scam? That was fun. I will never understand... The story behind how Flappy Birds got taken down always reeked of shit to me. the guy was like, oh, I suddenly realized that this game I was making was too addictive, and I had to delete it from the and like even as like a dumbass high school kid, I was like, you're full of shit. I think probably what the reason was Nintendo's lawyers had like sent like a cease and desist of just like, hey, you're using the Mario pipes, knock that shit off. Anybody remember like when Flappy Birds went off the App Store and there were like 48 fucking thousand really bad clones of it, but people were playing them anyway because they were just desperate for their Flappy Birds fix. Maybe the creator was right. Maybe the game was too addictive because they were playing shit like, I remember, oh my god. So fucking like I remember this during like the 2016 election. It was called like Trump Dump or something like that. And like it was like the shittiest fucking mobile game. Like some high schooler probably coded it and put it on the App Store. And it was just like the goal was to like take like a huge shit on President Trump. And Trump was like, and like Trump actually like sent out a tweet and it was just like, this deeply offends me. I am deeply offended by Trump Dump! Yeah. No better gonna make Karumi a floppy bird. LCX, go to your room. That's inappropriate. Go. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my stream. That is not appropriate. Well, all the pipes trademarked. I don't know if you remember Flappy Bird, but like they looked like Mario pipes. Let's be honest. Here's the thing: is like I don't even know necessarily like if Nintendo would have won that or not if it actually did go to court. But like, this was just some dumbass kid. Nintendo probably just like sent this kid an email. Because if I remember right, it was just like some kid in like, it was like Thailand or Vietnam or something like that. It was like Dong someone, if anybody remembers the guy's name who made Flappy Bird. And it was just like, they probably just sent him an email. They just probably wanted to scare him, and I think it was successful. Because he took the app down. I remember a time when, like, immediately after Flappy Bird came down, there were people selling their iPhones for, like, $2,000 because secondhand. Like, it didn't matter how old the phone was, as long as it had Flappy Bird still installed on it, people would buy it. And then, like, whenever the most recent jailbreak came out, the thing that people were most excited for was that you could download Flappy Bird on the iPhone now. You could sideload it on Cydia. That was a weird fucking time. And Flappy Bird was not that good of a game. Again, you know what, though? Like, looking back in hindsight, I think that guy may have been right. I think that guy may have been right about the game being too addictive. Because, like, people spending $2,000 on an iPhone, when a new iPhone was, like, $600 back then. They were spending, like, over 3 times that amount just so they could get their Flappy Bird fix. God, people were stupid. Was he Vietnamese? Okay. You had friends who played it when you were in middle school? Yeah. He was probably getting death threats? From who? I mean, honestly, probably everyone. Like, the internet... Like, that's the thing, is, like, people want to say the internet is toxic now. Oh my god, the internet was so toxic. Like, I think like that was around the point where like that was about the point where like the internet was about to reach a breaking point. I think 2016 was probably that breaking point with the internet, or when like social media groups like social media platforms really kind of started cracking down on like censoring shit, which I'm I'm not advocating for that, but I am definitely saying like it changed the way that the internet was. The internet now, they've kind of managed to make the internet sort of like it's definitely a safe haven for some less than desirables, but not as much as it used to be. You know what I mean? Like it was a different time and place. The physics were like worms, but the gameplay was super stripped down. Worms? Hold on. Oh, Angry Birds wasn't that good of a game either. Like Worms? I played Worms. I don't remember. I remember Worms being a lot more like Lemmings. I wouldn't. There was like I remember seeing something like there was a very specific Flash game that Angry Birds whipped. There was like a very specific Flash game that Angry Birds ripped off, and I forget what it was, but I've seen it before. It was like I might have even played it on stream when I did that Flash Games special. But there was a very specific Flash game that Angry Birds ripped off. It was like I don't know, like Missile Launcher Supreme or some bullshit. Oh, the physics were like Worms? Worms has the same physics as Angry Birds, but with a lot more complex gameplay. Yeah, I can see that. Maybe. I'm not as familiar with Worms. I think I tried playing it once. I Worms. I always get Worms and Lemmings confused. And I think they were like Worms was probably very heavily inspired by Lemmings. Plants vs Zombies I always thought was a much better mobile game at the time, and it was decently popular, but I don't think it was like the cultural phenomenon. Like Plants vs Zombies didn't get like a TV show and 2 movies. You know what I mean? Like I think it easily could have though. Because I think Plants vs. Zombies was a much... But then again, though, like, I don't think... Like I said, people did not want a substantial gaming experience in mobile at that time. And Plants vs. Zombies was not necessarily a substantial experience either, but it was more so than, like, Angry Birds or Paper Toss or shit like that, where it was just, like one thing, and there you go. That's your gameplay. What? You wanted more? No, you don't deserve more. That's the gameplay you deserve. Fuck it! Oh my god, Blooms! Yeah. I forgot. Yeah, that's right. Blooms is on the phone now. I played Blooms was one of the few actual big Flash games that I played when I was a little kid. I remember Blooms. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to go back on my phone and play Blooms again. I'm feeling nostalgic now. But yeah, Blooms was like a big Flash game, and then that was one of those that I'm pretty sure I played that on the Flash game stream, and I remember having such a huge nostalgia-gasm at that, because that was a game I totally forgot about playing on on whatever website. Hi, David. You forgot the name. It's now remastered. Square made an epic JRPG mobile at that time. Okay. Launching Gremlins is like Angry Birds, but with wind physics taken into account as well. Okay. Bloom's Tower Defense? I don't think it was that. Plants vs. Zombies is just a tower... Yeah, it's a tower defense. But I'm saying, it was more substantial than Angry Birds, for what little that's worth. It worked for Stellar Blade also. What's Stellar Blade? Personality, I think. The AAA game industry just needs to introduce new IPs with the same... Yeah! You know what? I think that's really what it comes down to, is they are such soulless corporations that, I talk a lot about focus grouping on this stream, and focus grouping is really the world's biggest double-edged sword, I think. On one hand, I think that it allows people to... I think it allows for safer investments on the company's end. So you can release something and generally get a pretty decent idea of how it's going to fare. But on the other hand, focus grouping has led to media as a whole being really, really safe. More so, with movies, with television, with video games. That is why people are sick of not only the AAA game industry, I would argue, but the AAA industry. Hollywood, the big video games, the big television shows, Netflix. That's why even TV streaming, I think, is starting to go by the wayside, is because everything is so unbelievably safe. If you want to watch TV as a concept is so corporate spoon-fed, and it always was. But the reason TV shows worked back then is because the internet didn't exist, or rather, the internet was not as widespread as it is now. And, people did not know better than to just consume the same four walls of, oh, well, here's this show that has a widespread appeal, and, people will, we made the show for mass consumption so that tens of millions of people can enjoy it. Meanwhile, we realize more and more, you cannot get 10 people, let alone 10 million people, to agree on anything. 10 people are all going to have their own opinions and their own cultures and their own walks of life. Mass appeal is a dead idea that will never happen again. And the reason is because the internet killed it. There is nothing that will really have mass appeal like it did even 10 years ago. Because people have realized we are all so different that people just, like, I guarantee everybody in this chat right now has different interests and different things that they watch on YouTube or on, even on, like, TV or movies or whatever. But TV is meant, but the industry, the game industry, the movie industry, the TV industry is meant for mass appeal. Nowadays, major things can happen that can zero in on niche appeal. You have games now which appeal... I have games now which can appeal to me and me specifically. You know what I mean? I can make content that appeals to me. I would even say, like, the content I make does not actually appeal to me. I don't like watching my own videos, but you know what I mean? Just leave people alone when they are not bothering you. Hold on, what? Apparently the woke aren't a problem and people are just overreacting. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah, just leave people alone. It's spontaneously generated entertainment. It's spontaneously generated entertainment. Exactly. Like, that's why the entertainment industry, like, when you have, like, focus grouping and focus testing and research and R&D and shit like that, it makes you realize, now that we have an alternative, it makes you realize how the traditional landscape has always felt so empty and void of creativity. Like, that's what the indie industry has done. That's what the indie games industry has done. It's shown a spotlight on how void of ideas the AAA game industry always kind of has been. I think, like, gaming, though, is, like, sort of an exception a little bit, because, like, you had, like, Sega and Nintendo who were kind of... And Sony, too. And even to a degree, Microsoft. Like, there used to be genuine innovation. But I think now focusing and focus grouping has really taken that away from us. Because companies are too conservative to take actual risks. Hello, Renee. Like, you can't just say you're a pioneer. You have to actually put your money where your mouth is.
Why, if it isn't my slippery old pal Muttonhead. I told you I'd catch up to you sooner or later.
Oh,
And
no.
here I am.
Say, you're that nice little girl I met the other day, aren't you, sweetie? I was offered a big reward to guard these caves for a very mysterious man. And well, seeing how I've got a price on my head, well, it seemed like a great place to hide out. But I guess I really underestimated the power and the resolve of these pesky flying blobs. They learned of my plans for the area and, well, they got kind of angry. Squat fools, they trapped me in my sleep.
Guess you weren't as smart as you thought.
But they underestimate me. Only I control Garatus. I'll crush them when I get out of here.
Yeah, I like the artsy artsy indie games. Like, you could kind of like make the argument that a lot of those are kind of arts for art's sake, but at least it's trying to do something, which is more than can be said for the AAA gaming industry. Like, even arts for art's sake shit is kind of, it's better than what the AAA game industry is. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is the AAA game industry lacks personality, like what Elle said. Let's go back to Seagal. I have a feeling we're gonna unlock him fairly soon. I think he's the next one that we unlock, and then we unlock Slick after that. I don't know if those are the only 4 playable characters or not, but we will see. You think pushing the envelope's super pretentious and those people should just work at the post office? Well, I think the entire point of art is to push the envelope. And if they're, you know what I mean? Like, art has to say something, I think, in order to really be... Even if it's something that's already been said, if you can say it in a different way, I think that's what differentiates good art from great art. Like, there's always a time and place for art that's, you know, comfort food. You know, like the Transformers movies. That's like the prime example. I'm sorry. That pun not intended. That's always like the prime example of just like art that does nothing to actually push anything, and it's just like, or like the Fast and the Furious movies. Like,
This is the fool that caused Garatus to awaken. You know him, don't you? Tell, Gah.
Huh?
Your friend has awakened Garatus from his sleep. You must pay for his stupid actions. Gah.
My friend? Awakened? God, what are you talking about?
This fool. Gah.
Hi, guess what? And I know this is gonna make your day. I blew it again.
good fuck. Okay, I'm sorry. I was not expecting that to be so funny.
He was pretty mad, so I just
Hey guys, I fucked up again!
Squirty hear about it and he goes ballistic on me. I mean, jeez. But he
I
called
love
right
you, Slick.
now
I
and said
love
if a
you.
mild Popful Mail would take care of our little monster problem. No sweat. And hey, I know you can do
That
it.
right there sums up just about...
One for the slickster.
Why, you little... Do you know what you did this time? You're
That explains just about every stream I've ever done. Guys, guess what? I blew it again.
You have to.
This is gonna make your day. I fucked up again.
It's our only hope. Destroy him, and you can have Muttonhead. I promise. But that's only if you destroy him completely. In fact, I'll sweeten the deal. If you succeed, I'll follow you anywhere.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was too busy laughing. I missed what the fuck he said. What are we talking about? You think pushing the envelopes? Yeah. The entire point of art is expression and humanism. If your primary goal is functionality, that's called craft. I agree with that. I think the definition of art is extremely subjective. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who genuinely argue, like, if video games are art, which, I mean, that's a stupid argument. Of course they are, but you know what I mean? Like, art, I think anything and everything can be considered an art. Like, like for example, like, even if something is functional, like, if you are a master tailor, you're like really good at like you're really good at being a tailor. I think you could say you are an artist in that field. There is an art to something. There is an art to raising your children. There's an art to being a tailor. There's an art to being a butcher. You know what I mean? Like, even your trade can be considered an art if you're really good at it and if you take great passion in it. Even if the thing that you are creating is ultimately going to be a functional piece. Or an art to cooking. Cooking is art. Even though the end result is really just functional. There are people who take great pride in their culinary skills when, in reality, the essential function of food is just to gain protein. So that we can temporarily have protein until we excrete it at some point and need it again. If there is a creative input, it can be arguably art. Yeah, I guess you're right about that. Yeah, like cooking. Yeah, that's true. Like with the culinary example, there's definitely a creative component to cooking. There are people who put a lot of creativity into their work. Do you think Popful Mail will run on the new Switch? Do you think it's powerful enough to run this? Can it run Popful Mail? That is the question. I think that would require somebody to give a shit about Popful Mail, though. Apparently, the PC98 version is available on, like, modern consoles. It has been re-released, but unfortunately not the Sega CD version. It'll run on a microwave. What are these really powerful microwaves you guys got that can play video games? I want one of those. I want a microwave that plays games. I want a microwave that can run Doom. I want to microwave some Hot Pockets while I play my Doom. We only had well done steaks. Yeah. Oh god, did you get L started on well done steaks again? You're a fucking funeral, dude. This? Yeah, okay.
aspirin?
Soul Feast? Oh, that's a good game. More like Soul Feces! Sorry. AVGN already did that. Soul Feast is a good game, right? That's like a... That's a shooter. Probably not the best shooter on Sega CD, I think. No, Harmful Park wasn't on there. What was the other, like, weird... The one that was, like, took place in, like, imperialist China or some shit? I forget what it was. Oh wait, maybe... I think I might have actually been able to go there. I think I didn't actually need to backtrack. I think I could actually just go through where the... where God was. I need to stop watching AVGN? Never. Actually, I probably do, because AVGN sucked ass. Yes! Yeah, that's right, though. Soul Feast was, I think, yeah, that was a lot like R-Type. I think it's a pretty good game. Again, probably not, like, the best shooter on Sega CD, but the Sega CD had a lot of good shooters. Was Cotton on Sega CD or Panorama Cotton? I think it was... Panorama Cotton was either on Sega CD or it was on Genesis, or both. It might have been on both, actually. There was definitely a port of Panorama Cotton on Genesis, but I don't remember if Sega CD also had a version. Hey, Jackie Lee, how are you? A working design doesn't know that the meaning of casual. Well, I'm actually playing the unworking design version of Popful Mail. So it balances the game out a bit better than... a lot better than the original Working Designs version of this game. Oh, I can even do... Oh, that is cool. Okay. Yeah, good on me. Yeah. What would be even better is if your player... If you play the Japanese original, if you could get your hands on it, that is. Well, I am using emulation, so I could, I am using emulation. This is not an original Sega CD. I'm playing this on my Steam Deck. But, so I could play the Japanese original. I just like the, Japanese... Well, one, I can't read Japanese, and two, even if I could... I kind of prefer the voice acting, even if the translation is not really that good. But any chance that I see Slayers in the 90s before? Slayers. That was a Sega CD game, right? Also, by Arus. Slayers. That was a Sega CD game, right? Oh no, that was wasn't that another Working Designs game? I think that was also an RPG, kind of like Lunar. Oh, it was an anime. Okay. Then no. Ours probably has. LCX also might have. They are the, they are my, anime... They are the, resident anime freaks in chat. Actually, just about everyone here is an anime freak but me, so... How I came across this crowd, I don't know, you figure that out.
I knew I should have stayed in bed.
Isn't No Slayer is an anime, a 90s classic. Oh, okay. I think I'm actually gonna go back to... Yeah, I'm not into anime.
My teddy bear.
It's because Male looks similar to Lena Inverse? Oh, I did not know that.
Pass the aspirin.
Main heroine, Lena, is... Oh, it's voiced by... Megumi... Okay. Japan's most famous voice actor, aka the queen of voice acting. And she's a voice of Male too? Interesting. Cool. Presumably the Japanese voice, right? Yeah. I have not heard what she sounds like, but I'm sure she's good. She must be good if she's getting that much work done.
Pass the aspirin.
In the US version, it's Jenny Stigall, who also voiced Luna in Lunar, I think, and sings the song. That would make sense. I would have to imagine it's just like honestly, all these voice actors just sound like they may as well have just been like interns working at Working Design. Just hire Jenny from accounting. She's beyond good. She's like the voice acting equivalent of Elvis and Michael Jackson. Holy shit. That is definitely a lot of praise. Well, have you met Jesus? Well, Jesus is shit! Compared to this Japanese lady. Have you ever heard of Jesus? Wait a minute, I have that shield. I should be using that.
Are we there yet?
I wonder what, like... Oh, I'm sure the Japanese voice actor's still doing pretty well for herself if she's still alive. I wonder what Jenny's doing now. It's just like every, like, once a decade or so, just like some video game nerd will be like, hey, you're Mail from Popful Mail. And she'll be like, oh yeah, that's right, I did do that.
I knew I should have stayed in bed.
Okay, I definitely want to use Tate, or Tate, or I forget what his name is. The one that's not Slick or Male or Ga. Okay, definitely use Tate, though. He's better.
Oh, I think I soiled myself.
On second thought, maybe I don't want to do that. Jenny from accounting is a bigwig at Hamilton Dash. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, that would be my guess too. Only 5. What are the other 3? Probably other Working Designs games. So probably like Lunar, Lunar 2, Popful Mail, that other Sega CD game, and something else. Did Working Designs do an ease game, maybe? Could be that. Never mind. That strategy does not work.
Oh, I abred when I should have cadavered.
Unlike male, Lena is flat-chested and a sorceress. Good for her. It was actually based on Slayers. Interesting. Maybe I need to watch that then. How, was Slayers on for a really long time? Is there a lot of lore I'm gonna have to work out before, like, I can get into Slayers? I don't know if you have to kill those devils or not. But either way, it's probably going to make my life a lot easier if I do. So I'll probably... Oh. 1C, 10 down. Alright, there we go. Death Note was too serious and doesn't show you the lighter side of how it's... Hold on. I missed a couple of things. It's just typical comedy, semi-serious at times. Give me a moment. Slayer had 5 series lasting all the way to 2009. Okay. It was huge in the 90s for a high fantasy show, right up there with Evangelion. Alright. Watch any episode and see how you like it. Alright. So I don't need... It's not, like, episodic. I can just, like, watch an episode and I don't have to worry about it. Go to intro to the intricacies of anime, though. I will check that out. Yeah, I've watched Death Note. I liked Death Note. My thing, again, I've said this before, is just, like, everything just felt so plot convenient, especially in the first half of the show. And in the second half of the show, when L finally takes out, when Light finally takes out L, it's just sort of like, okay, well, what do we do now? I don't know. Just seems sort of like... She's also a singer. Okay. Interesting. Well, I mean, yeah, she seems like a very multi-talented person. Hope she's doing well. I imagine she is, if she's not dead. And if she is dead, then I'm hoping she's fondly remembered. Maybe... Is there another thing here? Oh, I see. cherry. Good. Well, I'm out of the cave. Hello? Let's go. Oh. Oh, fuck. I didn't know you could do that. Okay. Oh, shit.
Oh, check, please.
His gateway anime was Death Note. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about Evangelion. No, she's still alive, turning 58 this year. Okay, so she's not even that old. Good. Shit, so I have to do this again. Alright.
I think I soiled myself.
Gainax was a big financial trouble at the time of production, so they couldn't hire voice actors to do background characters, so Megami took a lot of that. Yeah, that checks out. Throughout the 90s, Megumi's constantly ranked #1 on the Oricon music chart. Really? So, damn. Really fucking good. Good for her. Good job, Megumi. Good job, Meg. Awesome show. Good job. Well, speaking of people who just died, though, influential people who just died, David Lynch just died today, apparently. I don't know how old he was. I'm guessing pretty old, but still. Did a lot of, like, horror shit, did, like, Twin Peaks. I don't know, Tyler's a lot more familiar with his body of work than I. But, needless to say, very influential in Western media. Yep. You like Zard's songs from those times too? Oh, that sucks. Maybe play some Megumi H songs on VTuber Radio? Yeah, go ahead. The artist for the Tales games died with no fanfare because Akira, whoever died around the same time. Okay. There's an anime about voice acting. Sorga Seiyu by Hayata and his wife. Okay. Her voice wasn't special but distinct. Alright. Alright, you gonna turn around at some point? That would be cool. Thank you. Oh, okay.
Oh, I think I soiled myself. When I should have cadabraed. Check, please.
Let me try with mail. Lesson learned, do not use mail. Alright. That wasn't too hard. Chivo! Now can I go back to see Gaw, maybe?
You did it! Oh, I knew you had it in you. I kind of have a sense about these things, you know. It runs in the family.
God didn't think you had a chance. God promised to be your friend if you won. God will make good on his promise by joining your quest. Hey, let's go get Muttonhead.
Gaw's chat right now.
Gaw.
Gaw, wait just a minute. I need to have a few words with Mr. Slick. Say, do you still have the hammer that I used to free you the other day? And if so, would you be so kind as to return it?
Hey, that was a gift, remember?
No, it wasn't.
You see, I found where Master Muttonhead is being held, but it's sealed with rocks. I need the hammer so I can get to him.
Well, since you asked so nicely, and because you just saved my butt from a royal thrashing that would make the Inquisition look like a tea party for senior citizens, I'd like to present this hammer to you.
Okay, I like
as
Slick.
a gift.
Oh, thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to me.
I like Slick.
Oh no. Bountyville. Who could have done this?
Okay, I want to reset real quick. I want to see what that looks like with I want to see what how that played out with mail.
You did it! Oh, I knew you I kind of have a sense about these things, you know. It runs in the family.
God didn't think you had a chance. God promised to give you Muttonhead if you won. God will deliver. Now, I'll help you on your quest. Yes, 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 God.
Yeah.
Hey, but wait a minute. Oh, Slicky. Yoo-hoo. My hammer. Remember? The one you snatched out of my hands? Hand it over.
Hey, that was a gift, remember?
It most certainly was not, you tweezerhead. I need that hammer to get to Muttonhead.
Yeah,
Now
tweezerhead.
give it to me.
Well, you could ask a little nicer. But as thanks for all the help you've given me, and I'm not sure that I needed it, I'd like to present this hammer to you as a gift.
Gift? Gift? Okay, buddy, just cut the crap and give me back my hammer.
Oh, she said crap. Alright.
Oh no. Bountyville.
Oh no.
Who could have done this? Certainly not an ordinary gang.
It is a mystery, but the people who could explain it are gone.
Oh,
This place is gutted. It would take an army to do this. But who were they? Muttonhead, I know you're involved in this somehow, so come clean. What happened?
This destruction is just a small demonstration of my new power!
Get a grip. You're strong, but you don't have that much power.
Wait, I think I'm putting this together. I bet this has something to do with that Kaiser fellow and the legend of the one called the Overlord.
Well, you guessed right. Give that boy a shiny gold star.
Tato, who is this overlord
I
anyway?
think they might have actually
From the legend of the ancient wars.
they might have actually
The Overlord is
reanimated
the
this.
leader of a powerful
I'm not
trio of
100%
beings who
sure
tried to conquer
though.
our
It
world.
seems like
They
it
were
actually
stopped by an
fits
elf,
fairly
dwarf,
well.
and a warrior, then banished from our dimension with the Black Seal.
If that's true, we have trouble. In God Cave, Prunehead was shouting. He bragged about breaking a black seal to bring bad spooks.
Is that true?
Then again though, I think it might just be like
Don't have a clue.
the animation barely fit
The
to
Overlord's
begin
got
with,
the
so
big
they didn't really have to do
Well,
much.
I could arrange for you to join him. Get the point?
Please! I'm just a weak and powerless old man. Didn't your mother ever teach you to show a little respect for your elders?
Well, since you can't shield us from the Overlord's power, we might as well send you back to him.
Oh,
Send him back to the Shadow Realm.
He'd mock my failure to stop you, then kill me.
Well, I could spare you the humiliation by killing you now.
Wait, Mail! Although he doesn't deserve it, please give him another chance.
All right, Ted.
Although he
you got
doesn't
Just
deserve
one more
it.
chance.
Thank you. Your kindness.
Give him
will
another
be
chance,
good
just
someday.
for shits and
However,
giggles,
since
I
the seal has
guess.
been broken, it seems we must learn how to reactivate it. Legend speaks of it being crafted by a dwarf.
But do you think he's still alive?
If
Wait,
he
does
is
Muttonhead
alive,
become a
he'd
playable
be at the
character at some
sanctuary in
stage?
the old mines.
Well then, looks like that's where we're headed. The mines.
But Mail, I thought you.
Hey, don't get me wrong here, Tatters. I'm not doing this to save the world. Anyone who's known as the Overlord is bound to have tons of treasure. I bet it makes the reward for Muttonhead look like pocket change. And who knows, Tat? I might even be persuaded to share a little bit of it with you. So let's get this show on the road.
Great. Just lead the way, Mail.
Tato, you spineless weasel! I taught you everything you know, and now you're going to let me run.
Was that, what was that word you, taught me when I was playing Threads of Fate? Tatsume or something like that? Sutsume?
Before it's too late.
But I'll starve to death!
Hey, don't worry. Alive or dead, I'll still get my 2 mil. We'll be back when the seal's restored. See you later, Smarty.
Yay! Time is it 11:43? I hope they don't use Working Designs localization. By God, I do not want to see that Bill Clinton. Wait, there was a Bill Clinton reference in this? I didn't remember that. I guess I haven't gotten into it yet. How the hell is that gonna work? You fucked up more times than Bill Clinton, Slick. PSP version felt like they... Okay. Oh, and Lunar 2. I see what you're talking about. Okay, I haven't played the Lunar game. That might actually be... Maybe I should actually do that after Popful Mail. Maybe play the first... Okay, L. It's probably going to be a while until I finish Popful Mail, but if I were to play a Lunar game, should I start with the first one on Sega CD, or should I play Lunar 2? Because, like, I do want to... Lunar has been one that's been on my radar for a while. I don't know... They took... Yeah, they all... I mean, like, look, Popful Mail took a shit ton of liberties, too. That's just what Working Design did. If I could in any way read Japanese, I would probably... Actually, I guess I could have just used the AI translate or whatever, but still... But, yeah. They are both on Sega CD? No, Lunar 2 is on the PlayStation, right? Was the first Lunar on PlayStation? Okay, now I'm, like, genuinely wondering. So, there's Lunar and Lunar 2. Lunar 1... That's the remaster of Lunar 2. Is Lunar 1 on the PlayStation, or did they... is that one Sega CD exclusive? Also, PS1 and Saturn, but those are actually different games. Okay, now I'm very confused. So there's two different versions of Lunar 1 and Lunar 2? It went to Sega Saturn first, then the PS1. They both went on PS1. Okay. Also, there's a GBA game. Okay. So, after Popful Mail, if I were to play a Lunar game, what should I play? What's the... Should I start with Lunar 1, Lunar 2, the GBA game, whichever one that is, that shitty DS one that everyone hates? Originals are Sega CD, remasters PS1 and Saturn and GBA. Okay. But so the remasters, what? Are the remasters like a bit closer to like the original Japanese, or are they just like better graphics, probably better FMV? I mean, granted, I think just about anything would be better than Sega CD FMV, but still. Play the PS1 or Saturn patched ROM of Lunar, the Silver Star story. Okay. Better visuals and gameplay. Course, and don't want to play Lunar 2 on Sega CD without the patch. Yeah, well, the unworking designs patch that was going to be a given. They also added skills, not present in Sega CD version. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm thinking it's going to be a little while until I'm done with Popful Mail. I don't know how much more of the game there is, but I'm going to say, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe about halfway through. So whenever I am done with Popful Mail, I'm probably going to play, I might do Lunar on PS1. Okay. So I think I'm gonna end the stream here. If you guys want to... I'll tell you what, if you guys want to, seems like you guys are getting along pretty well. If you guys want to, keep the conversation going, I'll, send you a link to my Discord. Jakey Lee. I just realized Jakey Lee, that's not a reference to the guy from Ozzy Osbourne, is it? Sega CD and remasters are completely different. Okay, so... Fuck, now I don't know what to do. Alright, well, Jakey Lee, if you want to join my Discord, I just posted the link there. L is definitely there if you guys wanted to continue talking anime and shit. But I am going to find someone to raid. And that person will be... That person will be Arus, I have decided. So everybody go raid Arus218. He is streaming either he's streaming either Final Fantasy VII on the PS1 or Mega Man X5 on the PS1, I think also. I want to say. But anyway. So, either Friday or Saturday. I'm probably going to retool this at some point, but either Friday or Saturday I'm going to do ROM Roulette for members only. I think I'm going to retool it at some stage, though. Actually, I might do the one episode and then probably put it on hiatus until I get more members. Because I think I want to retool how it's done. But anyway, Saturday, I'm probably going to be on L's channel. I will have to... I'm pretty sure that's going to be a thing I can do on Saturday. If not, I'm going to have to PM L and, update him on that. Sunday, I will be doing Romperie, where I will be playing Warlock for the Game Boy Color. Monday, I will be finishing up my look at the Atari 2600 games, beginning with the letter T, probably getting into the letter U as well. Tuesday, I will be continuing on with Grim Grimoire, which I really, really enjoyed that game when I played it on Tuesday. And I think I will hopefully continue to enjoy it. And then next Thursday, I will play some more Popful Mail. So, thank you guys so very much for watching. Always super appreciated. Thank you, Arus218. David McCrevis, LCX, John Enclave, Mid-Tier Guard, Nicholas W., Renee W., The Real Daniel Larson, aka Karumim, Nintendo Volts, and Jakey Lee. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Good night. And thanks for coming to my TikTok. Bye, everyone.
It's the outro, and here's the outro free. Freddy Freaka, into presentation, sweeping the nation, doing his thing our way. If you wanna see more of me, become a member, watching movies on LD Cinema, play some games on Rum Roulette and Request. To be part of the community, join the Discord, talking about games, music, round requests, and more. Join now. That's all of the plugs that I've made. Thank you all for watching. Now let's raid!